Cool tweet.
Chloe, baby, looking like 1,000 likes. She'll fine ass girl. Yeah.
Thank you. She took them raggedy braids out. I was looking like Harriet Tubman's long lost cousin.
Oh no.
Bad.
All right, cool. Everybody, welcome to Late Breakfast. I'm Tori and B.
I'm First Class Reg.
And what's going on, guys? Still social distancing, still quarantining.
I've moved past liquor.
So last week we promised everybody that we would watch Black as Fuck, and right, it's black, not Blackish as fuck. Yeah, black.
No, it's Black as Fuck. Black ass.
Hashtag Black.
I'm sorry, all of those shows is kind of all. I have my take, so I'm ready.
Yes.
All right, so
Relax,
Black as
Julia.
Fuck on Netflix is made by the same creator who made Blackish, Mixed-ish, and Grown-ish. And he also was the writer, Kenya Barris, who was also the writer for Girls Trip. And what other movie was the writer?
Coming to America too.
And he's the writer for Coming to America too, which hasn't come out yet. But seeing some of his work, I know that at least I know it's gonna be funny because this dude is funny. So over time, I've seen a lot of people talking about on the timeline how they feel like this show shouldn't be called Black as Fuck because it doesn't give the black experience. The fact that pretty much all of his kids look mixed, opposed to like looking like black kids or dark. They're not dark enough. That he could have got a blacker wife, even though this is depicted off of his own life.
His real life, where his
real
life wife is
right.
Black. Yeah, like in Blackish.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah. So it was very like I was intrigued by hearing this, so that made me watch it. And I watched the entire show in like one sitting. Like I watched the whole show. I enjoyed that shit thoroughly. Personally, I thought the show was fucking hilarious. I didn't think anything was wrong. And for me, what I gathered is that all right, he's a rich black man that has moved to Hollywood, and he, this is what happens when you kind of raise your family, when you become successful or famous. Not every single time, but like you kind of like lose touch and things kind of just become different. And I think he depicts that in like the way he dresses and like how his kids react to things versus his two oldest daughters to the youngest kids. Like you could tell like, all right, they were raised in privilege and these are like things that like happen. Just like that episode when he talks to his sons about like not taking showers and shit like that. He's talking about not taking showers. Like if I didn't take a shower when I was a kid, my mom was just gonna beat my tail. But things is different now. But yeah, I don't know. Somebody else take the floor. I just gave my little opening about the show with Kenya Barris.
I enjoyed it. It was cool.
Well, Black as Fuck is literally an extension of. It's the uncensored version of Blackish.
There we go.
All you can't do on ABC7 that you can do on Netflix. But Kenya Barris decided to take an extension even further because she does go to NYU, and she really did a project similar to this where she kind of documented her family. It was literally about his life, but just an extended version, and obviously kind of getting into just who the man behind the writing is. So if you're not familiar with who Kenya Barris is, then obviously people just immediately go to the terrorism issue. And the Black community, we are ready to talk about anything and have a play. But aside from that, I think people who don't find this funny are people who really are not into dry humor. Like if you are a lover of cynicism and sarcasm and that type of like career enthusiasm, the office type humor, this is that raw type of humor that we get. That's not. It's more of like a reality show, kind of lightly scripted based type of comedy. For me, I thought it was hilarious because the way he talks to his kids is hilarious as hell. Like when he told his daughter, like, oh, somebody's gonna fuck you up one day. Like that was the realest shit. Because she was sitting
I
like,
don't want it to happen.
He was like,
I love you.
Not right, but like, I'm waiting for it. And he says to his kids, like his son showing him he's like, Karen, you're supposed to love all the art your kids show you. You're supposed to like want to hang it up. And he's like, shit is trash. Like, it's just that kind of humor that I think Black people were taking things a little way too seriously, and we have to get back into the habit of just having fun with real life is funny. Look at this for what it's like, a real family dealing with being not above middle class. There's so many families now that are mixed families. I look on TikTok, there's black and white moms, black and white dads raising these kids. They're actually showing, a lot of the generation right now is mixed. The kids coming up, all of the section, a lot of them are. So like, understanding that we are in a time where we have multiracial people and generation that are looking at things. It's not just dark skin and light skin for them. They're just looking at people. And I think the people that are holding on to the colorism part of it are making it a bigger conversation than it needs to be. Like we have black people still on TV and on screens. Let's just revel in that. I understand you want to see more, but we have black, all like skews of the spectrum representation.
So two things really stuck out for me on the show too, because kind of piggybacking off of what Chloe just brought up, I think it's all racial standpoint. We have social media now. Everybody's outraged all the time at everything, and everyone has a voice that they get to like kind of pick up on those platforms and say those things. To me, it reminds me a lot of a different tax bracket version of the Bernie Mac show, when it was documentary style, talking however the fuck to these kids, trying to raise kids with a lot of money and still instill like certain values and things in them, et cetera, et cetera. Strong, hardworking mom at the helm, et cetera. All those things. That was generations. We got and shit like that. And like you said, I personally enjoyed things like Curb and Parks and Rec and all these other shows that it was easy to make that transition into Black as fuck. But so I enjoyed it. And then what I also like is when you're able to kind of poke fun at yourself and and I feel like it was episode 5 where like we were just talking about with the Lena Waithe thing, like when he literally pulls, the entire episode is about, is he selling out, is he riding the black wave, how do you do that, how do you celebrate work that black is doing, body black, like Issa says, or do you ever critique anything, right? And I feel like that was fire of him to actually touch on that and make a whole episode surrounding it, because he kind of was like, I already know what y'all are going to say about this. I know how y'all are going to feel about this. So I'm going to poke, it's like, think to yourself for the bullshit, like, and be the one with the loudest jokes, so whatever y'all say isn't really going to affect me. I really enjoyed it. I think it's a good watch. I think that, like Chloe said, I don't want to pretend to try to speak for the black community because I'm Latina, but I consider myself a lot of family that is black, and I just feel like you said, like, there's a lot of different stories to tell, and we should be able to watch all those stories, and sometimes they're going to come up in different tax brackets now because a lot of our people are moving on up, so to speak. So it's not always going to be like, if you want to watch a really funny family, you last OG. That doesn't mean that you should be mad at Black as fuck.
And the last OG is great.
Right. Like there's something for everybody out there.
I think the episode that you just brought up actually was my favorite episode for that exact reason, because it's always something talking about like this new like black renaissance that we're going through that I touched on like in a previous episode, where it's like, all right, we do want to see black people win, but it's like, does that mean we're still supposed to support trash too? Like the movies that you don't like don't necessarily need you to back them. Like, we need to be honest, but I guess in hindsight that means that we're not all the way out the woods yet in that sense, because we do have bad movies that we don't feel comfortable saying that they're bad in a public setting, because we don't want to make it seem like have bad. Like everybody hesitated. Like when Queen and Slim came out, it was like the ratings was like up here on the timeline, and then people got comfortable saying, "Yo, that shit was kind of trash."
About
the photograph.
I liked it.
I like the photograph though.
The photograph
was good.
I was gonna watch it this week because it's like
photograph was great.
People don't.
Queen and Slim was good to me. I enjoyed it.
People don't want to publicly say that these movies that have black leads are bad. So like that episode, like being honest with critiquing black art was just really, really important, because I feel like that's what we're going through right now. Ironically, he had Lena Waithe and she's attached to Queen and Slim.
That's what was funny.
Because at first you realize in the whole episode they were blanking out the movie that he's critiquing. The episode, I'm like, he probably talking about Queen and Slim. He probably talking. But then it gets to Lena Waithe, and I'm like, okay, well, that's not what he's talking about.
And
But
Tyler Perry, like he brought everybody that pretty much.
I mean,
I don't think
Perry's part
with the magnifying.
Tyler Perry's part was the best part ever.
good.
Good.
It makes me want to like his
No,
movies.
relax.
But it makes me want to. It makes me want to because his work ethic is there. Like his unwavering like creativity, like with the way he does shit. It may not be for us, but like he has a demographic that supports that shit. And like just like he was saying, where he's like, yo, I don't listen to critics, I don't read this, I don't read Rotten Tomatoes, I don't do that. I just make what I want to make because I know I have like someone that's gonna echo the sentiment that I'm creating. Like so he has his audience. That shit is working for him. He has a whole fucking studio. Who am I to say anything?
It's something for everybody.
So with you saying, when you asking yourself, who am I to critique or judge him, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why should you ask yourself, why can't you just judge him and critique him, even if he's successful?
Well, okay, so I'll rephrase that. I won't, not necessarily that, who am I to critique him, because that's what we do. We critique everything. But like, I'm saying, who am I to hate on that though, is what I mean. Like, who am I to hate on him having his, but at the time, like, I'm gonna exercise my voice and saying shit is trash. I'm gonna let it be known when I don't like some shit. So I don't want to hop on Twitter or Instagram or anywhere and give my critique of something that happens to have an all-black cast and people say, yo, why are you doing that? You know what I'm saying? It's still supposed to normalize our experience, and if some shit is whack, it's whack.
Well, I think that's always been our problem. Like, I watched it or bits and pieces of it, and I was just like, okay. I love that we're finally the comedy. I think I was more hesitant to watch Black as Fuck because I wasn't a big particular fan of Blackish. I didn't really get into Blackish maybe until. Has everyone seen Blackish for the record?
I've seen those here and there.
Before you get into that too, I do want to say that I don't know how long he's been off of it, but Kenny is no longer even connected with Blackish anymore. That completely belongs to ABC now. So although it was his brainchild and he started with them, he's not there anymore.
Also, let me be quiet because that's not ongoing investment. Never mind.
What I'm gonna say is because if you just started watching it recently, you might have been watching it without his touch.
Okay, I'm fully caught up, but I don't think I really began to enjoy the show until I saw the relationship being strained and Bo, really, just about their lifestyles and actually adding a dynamic where everything is not so perfect and normalizing an actual relationship. Sometimes I get kind of tired of just like the blackity black. And it's just, I want something just genuinely funny. And I feel like sometimes we go right to the Black funny comedy, and then it's just not like, can you be creatively funny?
Yeah.
Without you using that as your calling card. And I think that's what makes great comedians that we like, the Chris Rocks, the Dave Chappelles, because they are well versed in their comedy where they can pull from any subject matter and find the funny in it.
Yeah. But I think that's what I liked about Black as Fuck is that, like, as successful as he was and the success that he projected, like, he was trying to, like, the funny part of it was that he was trying to, like, wield his whole family into maintaining their Blackness throughout his success. So, like, you know, even though they had, like, this overwhelming success, the private jet and everything like that, like, you know, everything that they went through that's, like, not, like, really that typical, he would celebrate Juneteenth like it's fucking, you know, like he would, like, execute Black things in, like, the Blackest way. And then, like, you know, they had, I guess, just part of, like, in when he did Blackish, he would have episodes where he focuses on, like, racism, and, like, the way he would do it though was always like, that's too on the nose. But I like how he did this because it was to, like, literal dance, because
but that's also the difference between cable. It's like if you had it on HBO, like Netflix is giving you way more creative rights than ABC Network is.
Because even
ABC Network, you still have to make it palatable for the white audience.
even flipping in the, like, what was her name? I wrote it down. Marie Van Britton Brown, that invented the
was
home
fire.
security system.
I never knew that.
I looked it up. I was like, oh shit, like I didn't know that. Like, so you kind of had hints of things in this show that you learned from watching, and it didn't come off too cheesy because we were learning from the point of view of a student or a potential NYU student. So they helped in that way. Whereas with Blackish, they just forced in Black history facts like into their dialogue. It was weird.
Did anybody like have trouble watching it, or was it
Yeah,
just
I
me?
think that I liked it when I got past episode 2.
Yeah, me too.
And I had to force myself. I was like, nah, let me keep giving this a shot. Because yes, I don't think it was a strong opening. And I think that's also why a lot of people on social media were reacting, because a lot of people didn't make it past the first 1 or 2 episodes.
Yeah, like the first 2 episodes were like, okay, wow, if this is how it's gonna go, I can't watch this anymore. But like once that 3rd episode comes, and like it really picks up, and then once that 5th episode happens, then it's like to the moon there.
Yeah.
So
I really like their I'm a big fan of seeing good arguments on TV, like between couples. So like I don't know if you guys watch Dave. I know we're not talking about Dave right now, but like in the last episode,
Love Dave. You know I love Dave.
I know you watched it.
Yeah, I like the affordable. I mean,
We gotta talk about that too.
The light-skinned Atlanta show. It's cool.
Yeah,
it is the light-skinned Atlanta show.
So they had like a good couples argument, and Black as Fuck had a good couples argument where like it was very much like you could see both sides, because you could see her side where she's just trying to find her spot, and like, you know, being next to somebody that's this successful and knows their footing already and knows what they want to do in life, and she kind of has to reposition herself because she, you know, she has 6 kids, she was a lawyer, she stopped doing that because she has his family now. So it was like this really, really good dialogue that I feel like people should revisit at some point.
I think it's also really interesting, or at least I love watching, you know, we always talk about art imitates life and creatives take from themselves. And like, so on Blackish, the wife is rainbow because his real wife is rainbow. She's really black and white, and she's really a doctor who, so she was really a doctor. And I think with the Black as fuck aspect is where she actually ended up staying at home with the kids for a while, because they did have like a fucking battalion of them. But what's also interesting is like when you mention like the couple fights is how on Blackish, not on Black as Fuck, they go through the divorce episodes where it's like you don't know if they're gonna stay together or not. And in real life, him and his wife are divorced now, or going through that process.
I didn't know.
And he still used that entire experience in that nuclear family to do the Netflix Black as Fuck series. That's interesting to me, because not only must that be kind of painful to find comedy in, but also like he chose to go into that dynamic and tell that story from a certain point of view. Like he didn't choose to go post-divorce. It was like, I'm gonna tell the story from a different perspective, like loosely based on what shit is like when it was good and what it's like to raise a family.
And they're even going through like the end of the season, like the end of the season towards like episode 8, you can see like where they're having the head of their problems are coming. And it's like being that candid of like, I think being able to kind of, you know, go through that process and detail that time in their life is kind of like a healing moment for them now. It's kind of like they both are able to kind of talk about who messed up here, where they were both wrong, like where they didn't meet in the middle. I think that helps them obviously probably in the co-parenting space because they still have kids that are really, really young. But it also, when Blackish touched on that part, Rainbow and Dre were going through it, it also put a lot of human aspect into what happens in homes. Like marriage is hard. And Black marriage is a thing that we have to fight for, and Black love is worth fighting for. But it's like being honest and having these dialogues as Black men and women, like when we're not meeting our partner in the middle. And that's always kind of been taboo to talk about on television. When, you know, people always love like when the family's happy and loving, and they're all, you know, comedy and it's great. But like that moment of Blackish was real dark, and I was like, I don't like this. Dre and Rainbow, and now having, you know, obviously done a little bit more familiarity and research on, you know, Kenya and Rainbow in real life, where they are, how it's affected their children, how they raise their kids. I think this is kind of the show that's kind of like been the family's healing process in general. You know, it's a way to laugh through your pain, but also acknowledge like how far you've come. Because they do a great job co-parenting from what I see, like, you know, online. And obviously they still have things to work out, but I thought it was really dope that they were able to touch on that from the beginning for us to see like when it was good, when it was kind of, you saw starting to be a problem, and who the kids viewed as being to blame. because they do give the daughter the opportunity to talk from her perspective. Like her as the narrator, I think is a very powerful thing to have a young person narrating the depiction of what they see in terms of women's life, the man's role, and from the children's standpoint, how it affects the kids. Like she has a very distinctive view about her dad, and she's very, very open about it. But it's also very clear separating who her dad is as a husband versus who he is as a father and who he is as a man.
Yeah.
I think they do a good job in telling all three of those narratives in this particular little series.
To me personally, I think I remember, Chloe, when you were talking about it on Twitter about that scene in Blackish, and that was the only reason why I started watching Blackish. I was like, how real does it actually get? Mm-hmm. So when it got to that point, to me, that single scene was the best scene I've ever seen in Black family television. To be that transparent and that honest and really watch the progression of that. So yeah, to even talk about it into Black as Fuck, like I think that's more of what I want to see, where we can actually remove those layers, where it's not like, yo, like my man's is mad successful and my wife is at home. Talk about what actual married people go through, and then trying to keep Black love on top of that, because the loving part is the priority, and then the Black love is that next level underneath that. So I thought that was really good. The show, I can live or die without it, but I think it is necessary for the culture to see. I don't need it, but I can see why people enjoy it.
Well,
Why don't you
I think the first season is always about character development. Like I feel like people want shit to be like jumping off off the walls. It's like the first season is like the foundation, right? You get to know who everybody is, understand like the problems and the antagonists and the protagonists of the show, and then it can evolve and develop. I think seasons don't reach their peak potential till like season 2 and 3. You know what I mean? Like you have to lay the foundation first. I think they did a pretty good job.
That's a good way to see that. That's a good way to break that down, Chloe.
But
like
that's like that's where our mentality of how we watch TV coming up.
Yeah,
it's changing now. Like now, shows don't have that liberty anymore. Like if you didn't catch niggas in the first episode, when granted the first episode, like we all come from the same era where the first episode was just the pilot. They trying to figure shit out. Now it's like you got to catch people in that first episode, and you got to catch them all the way through.
So, but then we see shows decline after that because they start off hot, like shows like Prison Break. Prison Break started off crazy, and then once niggas got out, I was like, "What the fuck is the point?" Like,
they're back in prison. It was pointless.
Exactly. You know what I mean?
We're in a streaming age now too, so you don't even have to wait a week. Like you used to have to wait every Wednesday night. My show's gonna come on. Like no, now it's like you binge through the season, and we're all on fucking quarantine, so everybody's like running through shit. There's so much content out there. I think that's like why Julius brought up that point, and it's so important. If you're not giving it an opportunity, like if you don't actively decide I want to give this a chance, you're gonna miss out on something great because there's something good there. And because he comes from cable television, I think that's why you see the development that Chloe's talking about. Like that is his format because that's his bread and butter. And that makes sense to him. That's how you hook it in for more.
But that's how you prepare for longevity, right? You give them you have brand and character affiliations and associations, and you have these long-term commitments to these characters because you've been there with them through the trenches. You've seen them evolve or kind of escalate and deflate, and then you understand where they're at. When by the time they get to their peak and their climax, then it's like, oh shit, nah, not my nigga, not Ken, like you know what I mean, or certain people, you know, and it's a comedy, and they give you an hour. They give you an hour to kind of like dissect and go through all the emotions. Right.
Yo, all right. So
you back now?
I'm not to cut anybody off. I'm sorry. That was an important call. Let's talk about Insecure.
All right. Yeah.
So
let's kick it off. You're excited.
Wait, hold on.
Let's talk about how Molly is holding the show on her back. Let's talk about that.
Love her.
First of all, let's talk about the fact that.
To give us some structure, we did a recap of season 4, episode 1. So we're obviously gonna talk about episode 2, right? I guess with like everything.
Is this 3?
With it.
Nah, we talked about last week's episode. We talked about last week. We talked about 1 and 2 last week.
All right, 3. My bad. You're right.
So we talked about episode 3 today. Yeah, this was previously from Sunday.
Okay.
Yeah. So This episode was intriguing because it was Thanksgiving, but it looked like it was summer. Like, I don't know, the time frames were kind of weird in that episode, right?
California.
Yeah, it's Los Angeles.
No, I'm
But
talking
I know-
about.
I feel like
because of
we've
the,
been 2
previous
months
episode of like
before
the
the block party for like 4 episodes already.
Yeah.
It's obviously they're setting us up for some big shit is gonna go down at the block party because they keep telling us 2 months before the block party, 3 months before the block party. Me as an ex-resident of LA, I'm confused as to why you would have a block party in January because even though it's Los Angeles, it's a little nippy, but they doing that. So we just saw Thanksgiving.
Well, I just want to say that as per usual, my man Lawrence is up 3-1 and blows the fucking lead. As
Exactly.
fucking always.
So do you wait? Can I ask a question?
Always
You
blows
guys,
the
do you
fucking
guys want to see him back with Issa?
No,
No.
the fuck he's not. What are you talking about?
lead. He's blowing the lead. The
No,
last thing
he's not.
doing-
Let him
the
speak,
last-
Eli.
yeah.
How's he blowing the lead?
Eli, you asking me how's
All
he
right,
blowing-
I'm not explaining that. You
Go ahead,
tell
Rob.
Rob to explain that.
I'm talking about Rob. Rob, how is he blowing the lead?
I'm muted. I'm unmuted now. Cool. So you completely the same thing I talked about, the lack of emotional intelligence and being absent-minded. So she, instead of you sitting here listening to what Condola is saying, like, yo, I don't want to really start a family right now. I really didn't even say that in that conversation. I never said that marriage was completely off the table. I just said that I was married a year and a half ago and I'm still trying to process that. But instead of you taking her emotions and what she said for face value, you said, oh, so you still trying to get over your ex. Nigga, I never said that. I never said that.
No,
I literally said,
it
was the tone in which he asked.
She
Like,
did say she didn't want to get married again, though.
Also,
she
said
I'm
she
just
didn't. Trying to correct you. I'm not correcting you for me.
Okay.
I'm just saying.
So but when he said, well, you said you get married again, she said, I didn't say that. I said I was married a year and a half ago.
No, she said
And
she
we got
did.
divorced.
You not listening to women. See, that's the problem. You not listening.
No, that was where the argument started. That was the argument in the kitchen.
That's the opposite of what she said. She said no, she does not want to plan a wedding again. She does not want to get married.
Not want to get married. She doesn't want to get married. What she didn't say was she's not opposed to having a family, but she didn't say she don't want to get married. I mean, she
Which
said.
I'm kind of with you, sis. Honestly,
But you know why this
Go
happened,
ahead, Chloe.
Rob? You know why this conversation happened and why Lawrence is so butthurt? Because Lauren didn't do the time to properly digress and process getting out of a 5-year relationship with the woman that he was in love with, and that's why that question triggered him so much when she said, "Would you have broken up had she not cheated?" Because he didn't take the time to get over Issa. What did he do? He went to Aparna. He was fucking bitches, catching the clap. He didn't take time to sit by himself and wait and process and be good on his own because he was still dealing with hurt. Now
LOL smiley face.
he's looking to jump into something because relationships are comfortable for him. He's looking to jump back into something, and he's met a woman that's at a point where she's in the in-between process of processing. And that's the problem. Niggas don't know how to be by themselves. I'm saying niggas and women. I say niggas, I mean people, period. People don't take the time to be by themselves and get over that past hurt.
Pronoun.
He's bringing the past hurt of a woman not being over their ex because who did Issa cheat with? An ex. So his fear of her going back to an ex is still lingering there because he hasn't done the work on himself yet. He hasn't.
Talk about it.
He'd be
Talk
great.
about it.
Be great if he took the time to just sit down and be by himself for a second.
Can
All right, get it, Reg.
Season 2.
Can I just add that was a dumbass question that she said? Why would she ask him that? When
Why?
she got out of-
To make him
Why
hear
is that a dumbass
have him
question?
say it out loud.
Listen,
So he can say
Reg.
it out loud.
Reg, let's go.
She asked him, would you still be with her if she didn't cheat?
Right.
That's a dumbass question.
Why is that a dumb question?
Would you still
People
be with her?
stay
That's a very
people
stupid
stay.
question.
Would
I
you
think
still
I
be
don't
with
think
her?
after y'all cheat.
I don't think it's dumb, but I do think it's unfair because that's not
Let
what happened.
Reg talk, please.
So listen, so it's a dumb question because she just got out of a divorce. So he could have easily been like, would you still be with your husband if you guys didn't get a divorce? Like
That doesn't make sense.
And it doesn't, none of them make sense. None of the questions make sense.
No.
He could have used that as a retort.
Nobody knows the answer to that.
That's what I'm saying.
Right, because that didn't happen, so we don't know.
And we don't know why they broke up. We don't know why Condola and her husband got divorced.
But Issa and Lawrence could have very well broken up had Issa not cheated because Issa could have just been tired of this nigga being on the couch or being whacked because he was still working at Best Buy when she cheated and she could have very well broken up. That wasn't a dumb question. He asked a question. Hold on, but he was still going through his transitional period. He still wasn't all the way together yet. He was working to get there, but he wasn't all the way there yet.
What justifies him getting cheated on?
I mean, at the same time,
I didn't say anything justifies him getting cheated on. The question was, would they have still been together had she not cheated? Had Issa not cheated, she may have also just dumped Lawrence because she was tired of Lawrence.
She should have dumped him, but she ain't over either.
I think that was his time to open that conversation and talk about what he was doing wrong in that relationship. They didn't get to why Issa cheated. He didn't say why Issa cheated. It's just, Issa cheated and then we broke up.
Yeah.
But why did Issa cheat?
Yeah.
That's what I mean. I feel like Chloe's trying to get to the point where, like, if in order for him to answer that question, he would have had to admit the part that he played and how things went down.
Right, which is why
why
I say the question wasn't a dumb question.
at each other.
Her question wasn't a dumb question. It was a step one question to get to the deeper problem of what their issues were in that relationship. It wasn't a dumb question.
And I think she's handled herself well.
The reason why I call it a dumb question, though, is because she wasn't in a position to ask that question.
Yes, she was.
Of course she was.
Well, when you're dating someone, you're in the position to ask any questions because he's pressing her about whether or not she wants to start a future. She's allowed to ask about the intel that led him to where he is now.
He asked her if she was over her ex.
I just found, if we're going based upon episodes, I come to your absent-minded ass saying, "Hey, I know your ex. Oh yeah, that's Issa. We was together 5 years." Nigga, what? Like what are you talking about?
Yeah, I think she asked the questions in the wrong order because that first day I would have been like, 5 years, please elaborate. Let's talk about that.
But this is the thing. Condola kind of already wrote Lawrence off, I think, once she understood what him and Issa's relationship length had been, which is why her friends was like, "Oh yeah, you perfect for her for right now," which is why he felt the way was like, which is what they mean right now, because she was already kind of like, you kind of invited yourself over
that nigga invited himself to Thanksgiving.
Right.
Exactly. They're not going nowhere.
I think, okay, so can we talk about that part? I think he did invite himself to the Friendsgiving because if you rewind and how his situation went with Tasha, how he didn't want to be there at her cookout, how he didn't want to be, out in public with her and to show that type of affection or kind of give that energy of moving too fast. I think he kind of played that in his mind, and with this, he doesn't want to repeat that, and he just kind of put a step forward before he was actually supposed to.
But he did it with the wrong person.
But now he's doing too much. He fucked up the sink. He's over here mopping in his fucking wife beater. Tank top. I also don't like that he was acting like a host. Like, if I were dating you and you're like, "Can I get you anything?" or whatever, like, are you the help or are you my boyfriend? Like, neither of those things are real for us right now.
You can help. You can help.
You could, but I didn't invite you here, and now to me, that's also like, it's kind of like you're making yourself so comfortable. Like, oh, let me get things for you in our place kind of situation. Like,
Orange was like
I think he was just trying to get
a
comfortable
situation.
He was doing the most.
But true apology, the best form of apology is change behavior. So if you go from season 2 from being ain't shit nigga who thinks he's a good guy, you generally trying to correct yourself. Mm-hmm. So I think it was a little insensitive of Condola to be like, well, you kind of just injected yourself to my friends. You didn't need to say that at all. Because at the end of the day,
I disagree. That's how you set boundaries and expectations.
But your friends genuinely liked him. You had the opportunity where you could have said no. You appreciated him being there, and you gave off the tone like, "Yo, this is the person I'm seeing."
But if she hadn't set those boundaries, then she would be
exactly.
We'll be talking next episode about how she's the big bad wolf who's leading him on because he was over at the apartment playing house and playing co-host.
She was the one who started pressing him. He started pressing her. Like, she was like, it was cool. She's going with the vibe. Cool. We had a good time. Thanks for being here. Appreciate you for being here. He got in his feelings when he got called the fuck buddy. And then it became, Then it was also, oh my God, Condola's using me. She's a big bad wolf.
I think before she found out about Issa, though, I think it was pretty serious. And I think after she found out about Issa, she stopped taking it serious.
Yeah.
Yep. Exactly.
As she can, because nigga, 5 years you're not over this bitch. Hold on.
But you know what happened that I thought was very interesting? I don't know if you saw that dramatic pause when they're sitting in the kitchen preparing the food, and Condola's friends like, "Oh yeah, such and such company. I heard they're going through changes." Yeah. And he's like, "Yeah," and she looks at him like, "Wow, babe, you didn't tell me that." And he's like, "Yeah, I kind of just found out." and she said something that I thought was like the most interesting thing. I was just like, it'll be okay. I trust you. I think that you'll be fine if push comes to shove. And he stopped and looked at her like, wow, I've never gotten that support about anything. That was very, very big for me.
He open because
she does have him open.
I think she's genuinely a nice person though, because she compliments Issa like every episode.
I'm a very supportive person, and people take that confusing sometimes. Like, maybe I just want to see everybody win. That don't mean I want you to be the one.
This is Lawrence's boomerang moment, and she's gonna leave this nigga strung out and stressed like he had Tasha. This is his karma for Tasha. I don't think Condola's gonna take Lawrence that serious because I don't think she believes that he's really done the work on himself like she is. She's in such a stable place where she's like focusing on herself, career, what makes her happy, working on herself out of a mess. And she's going to see that Lawrence hasn't done that work yet. And she's going to see what his life is like and how he acts when his life starts crumbling down. I think work's going to get a little crazy for him, and he's going to start to show his old Lawrence self about what happens when his life isn't together career-wise, and it's going to affect their interaction.
What's going to happen in the next episode? He's going to lose his job next episode.
I'm trying to look at the previews.
So
I think it happened.
No, sorry. What you want to say?
I was saying I think the most telling part of that, with the reason why I say he blew that 3-1 lead, is because you get in an argument with the woman that you're currently speaking with. And last episode, you were completely dismissive of Issa even trying to open a conversation with you because you didn't want to fuck up the current situation that you were in. And what do you do this episode? You jump in her DMs. And then you're in her DMs because you know you can't text her because that's going to leave a thread. My nigga, you moving back. He's moving back.
I don't think he calculated that. He was just
reacted to some shitty stuff.
Yeah, he was because that's the perfect segue. It would be weirder for him to text, "Hey, I saw you and your brother at the Mexican restaurant," than it is for him to be like, "Haha,
exactly, yeah,
happy holidays." The future Thanksgiving text.
I like how they showed us the building of tradition of, you know, no matter what you're doing on Thanksgiving, you know, and we're in our phones all day anyway, but on Thanksgiving, days that are holidays in particular, you checking on your homies that you can't be around in a moment, and you just seeing how they Thanksgiving going. So like the whole episode, it was all just, you know, checking like, oh, Kelly's stupid. Oh, okay.
Niggas showing the plates.
Yeah, like, you know, that was all Thanksgiving tradition. So like what he did, he wasn't in his phone all day. He caught up on the Thanksgiving festivities that happened with his friends, and he landed on her story and just laughed. And then it went from there.
Just laughed? He sent a message, my nigga.
No,
he sent emojis.
You don't gotta send that. You could have just laughed in your head and kept scrolling. You went out your way to press that. See, y'all niggas is toxic.
You don't do that.
No, don't say I'm toxic because I agree with you.
He sent the emoji.
Oh, that's cool. She with her brother. Keep going. He went out his way, waited for the bubbles, and then was like hyped, smiling, ready to respond.
Toxic.
It was in a good place. He was already in a good place.
Toxic.
He wasn't in a good place. He just got into an argument with his new girl.
No,
like,
exactly.
After he had just had a great interaction with Issa, where they had their typical chemistry banter, where they don't have to even try. So that was already on his mind. And then his shorty was like, well, are you over her? And he saw the Instagram story and he was like, well, perhaps I am not.
Well, fuck that. Let's get to Molly.
Listen.
My girl Molly is going through it.
Listen,
and I want to
Molly is carrying the show on her back. She's having man problems, work-related problems, parental problems, problems with her best friend. Let's go, Molly. I love this.
And then, you know what's funny, Julius? Niggas tried to write Molly off on the first episode of her being bitter and jealous of Issa and yada, yada, yada. And now I see it turn around like, damn, Molly's really going through it.
But Molly's always going through it.
Molly's always going through
it.
It's
not like this. Usually it's a pyramid.
I do enjoy how she made peace with her father.
Like, I feel like with Molly, it's always three things. She carries she carries two and one falls. This is the first time where she's juggling and everything is becoming too heavy for her.
And the thing
they're
is,
only 30-minute episodes, so just you wait.
And the thing is, we talked about last time how we talked about, I think I mentioned, like, we're gonna see Issa is not trying to recognize Molly's growth. She's also holding on to old Molly. She's not even acknowledging how Molly's trying to be and change just a little bit. And it's like, she's like, yeah, you've been hella negative towards me. And Issa's so used to Molly being negative towards her, she's sniping Molly before Molly even gets a chance to come at her.
Yeah,
like every time Molly says something, she's like, oh girl, you need to go fuck that up. Woo! Yeah.
Out the gate.
They're kind of on frenemy shit right now.
Like a friend of mine helped me see this, that because at first I was like, man, Molly is fucking up. Like, what's Molly doing? But I think right now, like Issa actually is the bad friend this season. Like the way she's projecting, like not necessarily projecting, but just dismissing, like Chloe was just saying, she's just dismissing Molly's ideas, Molly's thoughts, even just bringing Candola into just like shoehorning Candola's friendship into like their lunch meeting, just like, oh, you want to be here, whatever, and it's like, yo, this is your homie though. This is your homie.
I would be super offended if any of y'all did that.
Okay, can I be devil's advocate here? Because while I do kind of agree to that, in some ways I kind of feel like Issa's also just finding her voice. And for a long time, Molly had her pigeonholed as like, you're the friend that doesn't really do much in life and you need me to be your, like, we need to do everything together because you don't have a lot of us going on. And like, even in her doing Thanksgiving dinner with her brother, and you can see her kind of gaining confidence through him.
I like that.
Shit, and she's kind of like, yeah, you're right. Like, I don't have to do anything I don't want to do. I can feel however I want to feel. So I feel like we're watching Issa kind of spread her wings, and that's threatening to the audience because it's threatening to Molly.
But she's sniping her friends in the process. Because you know how you heard
they're outgrowing each other at this point. They're outgrowing each other.
And you know how that goes. You kind of clap faster at the people that are closest to you. Like I've had arguments with people like this. I'm like, don't get buck on your friends if you don't get buck on strangers in the street. Because if you wouldn't give that energy to a stranger, don't get sassy with me. I'm your friend. Watch your tone. Watch your tone. Watch your mouth.
Listen, I love how Molly is just getting better. I love how she's allowing herself to grow just a teensy weensy. I can't wait for Molly and Issa to break up. I'm anticipating it. I'm gonna love it. I also cannot wait for her to. So remember in the beginning where her and Asian Bae was out on a date, and he said, "Oh yeah, that's something just came up with work." I have a feeling he's cheating.
Who, Asian Bae?
Well, they just became exclusive. That's
my theory.
He's not cheating. No, he's just breaking down the barriers and shit.
I don't think he's cheating because he would have to start as of now because he made it clear to her before he was seeing other people.
No, remember in the intro, right? It was like I think 2 or 3 months after. No, it was like after the block party, right?
Before.
No. It was after the block party. They showed it, and then they showed before.
Oh, there's after ones? I thought all of them were before. Am I missing that part?
No.
You talking about before? Wait, what are you talking about?
He's saying that when they say like 3 months before the block party, there's also after ones.
Nah.
Yeah, the beginning is the after, and then the rest of the show they're showing before the block party.
I didn't pick up on that. I thought all of them were before.
It's like the.
Now I gotta go back and watch shit because
I don't. Like the first episode where they're on the phone and she's on the phone with somebody and she's like, "Yo, I'm over Molly."
Yes, that's like that was after the black party.
Yep. That's the first episode.
Yeah. Now there's a part where Asian Bae is on the phone with a quote unquote work related.
Oh,
so you're saying still in that after? Okay.
Oh. So we're working backwards.
I don't want that for her though, because I mean, honestly, no matter how much Molly pisses me off, she deserves to have like just that. That's enough. It's enough.
I honestly.
Yeah, Molly deserves to have a moment.
Yeah, I want her to win one. Like, goddamn.
I honestly thought the linchpin for the episode was going to be Molly was at this law firm, really finding out that she doesn't fit, and she was going to start her own law firm and be independent, and Issa was going to be the one to shoot down her idea. And I thought that was going to be the linchpin. Because it kind of felt like Molly's getting to the point where now she wants to do things on her own. Like, even at work, I feel like she still doesn't feel like she fits in. Although
she snaked everybody at work.
Yeah, even though we see, like I think it was Reg or somebody mentioned that they feel like there's this sexual tension or physical tension between her and Howard University kid. Like, okay.
Who that? What, Torian?
Torian, yep.
Yeah, that is his name, Torian.
Yo,
You hype.
I've never seen anyone on television with my name. I am pretty hyped about that.
Yo, every time I see him on the screen, I always think about you. I'm like, yo,
I don't
bro,
remember him
how?
from the first season of Wildin' Out.
Huh?
Y'all don't remember that guy from the first season of Wildin' Out?
Oh, you right. He was on Wildin' Out.
Yeah.
He was?
Back in the day. He was
on Wildin' Out.
He was like part of the cast. Like he was a big part of the
Wow.
cast. Yeah.
Wow.
Cool, man. I love that.
Yo, and then, did you guys see that Molly's brothers, that kid that used to do all these Vine videos and shit like that?
I love him as
Molly's
an
brother's
actor.
Little Saint.
I love him as an actor.
Molly's brother's Little Saint. The youngest one.
Yeah.
Little
Wow.
Saint.
No, the guy with the with who had the red T-shirt on.
It's two.
All right.
There's the middle one, the bald headed one, and then there's the younger one. The youngest one is Little Saint from You Guys Heard.
Oh,
The one with the pregnant girlfriend.
Yeah.
What
I
was
was
with the
just
toe?
talking about the kid
What was with the toe wagging
the
in
bald-headed
when the
guy.
mom said that? I didn't understand that at all.
I gotta rewatch the family scene. They be saying a lot of shit I
Okay.
can't catch.
So like, let's speed this up to the end when Issa has the epiphany that she feels like she built up Lawrence for the next one.
We've all been there, sis, but let me tell you something. At my grown age, I'm ready to be the bitch that gets the aftermath. So, yeah, it happens. I'm sorry, it happens. We've all done it, and we are all waiting for the one that's already been built on. So, welcome to the party.
But this is my thing. I don't think, and I mean this for men and women, I don't think that I don't ever think a person should feel that way, because I feel that if a person doesn't want to be their best self for you, then that just says that they didn't want to be with you. Like, and they, you know what I'm saying? So I don't think you should look back and dwell on that.
I disagree a little bit, because you have to bring age into consideration. They were together 5 years during their early 30s. So let's pretend they met at 25. Nobody's their best self at 25.
They met in college.
Nobody's their best version of themselves at that point in their life.
I'm just saying, did you just not? I didn't say any of that. I just said that I don't think that you should feel a way afterwards and say like, I put in all this work for this person to go be with someone else as the best version of themselves. I don't think that anyone should feel that way.
I feel like a lot of men don't ever end up feeling that
Because
way.
that means you don't want. That means you never really wanted. You wanted what was best for you. You didn't.
Chloe, I'm gonna let you take this one. Please take this one. Please, because I think we're thinking the same thing. So take this one.
I understand where both parties are coming. Tori and I understand where you're coming from. Like, if you truly want somebody to be happy, then obviously you want them to be their best self. Period. But through your relationships and all the relationships that you've had in your life, you do become your best self when timing is right for the person that you're supposed to be with. It sometimes is just a timing thing, right? But for some women, you can feel like, damn, or even men too, you be like, damn, she never used to do that until we got together. And this habits that I picked up from being with certain exes. There's certain things in the way I am now and how I treat men. Back when I was 21, 22, I used to leave niggas' bed crazy before I left the house. One of my exes was like, so you gonna leave my house and not make the bed? Whoop, my bad, sir. Started making the bed, right? When I was outside at events before I came home, I would start calling nigga like, yo, do you want anything while I'm outside? I would bring people home. But that was a level of consideration I never thought about until I started dealing with different people. There's different habits that you pick up and just out of being in different relationships, and you find what works for certain people. I do believe that one person eventually is gonna get the best you because you've been built up and you've gone through the trials and the L's and the wins of being the not so perfect partner for other people. So that now somebody is gonna reap the benefits of all the work and the things that happened in your other previous relationships. It does happen. Is it a timing thing? Absolutely.
I don't know if that's a common thought for guys to have.
Not a thought.
Yeah, that's what I think too. I think that that's not something that I think that maybe Torian's coming. But now listen, me knowing Torian personally and knowing what a great guy he is, you always put your best foot forward with everyone and with everything. That's a generalization you're making for self. Mm-hmm. Generally speaking, a lot of men don't see relationships as projects in the way that a lot of, especially younger women do. And one way or another, whether you like it, no matter how you slice it, it ends up becoming one of those things where you feel like maybe you put a lot of time and energy into helping someone get to their best self and they turn to give that to someone else. I think that also comes with maturity and age and growth and just like learning about yourself, learning what you want, what you don't want. And if in speaking in this particular context, when you're watching it, that is the reality. Lawrence learned a lot from how things went wrong with Issa and is learning not to apply them with this person now. And that's a real thing that she's experiencing when she's like, damn, she's getting the best version of him. And maybe that sucks. And that's something that you mourn apart with mourning the relationship, and then you move on.
Well, I think a woman meets a man in the right time. And when a man hits the right time, he meets the right woman. I think that I really hold that quote very true. I think that for Lawrence, I think there is a bit of growth where he's trying everything to be a better person, but I think he's trying to be a better person, but not with the sincerity there. I think he's like, oh, well, I wasn't attentive this time. Boom, I'm attentive. Let me scratch that off. I wasn't attending friends and family functions because I didn't want to get close. Boom, let me try being closer. I have personally a terrible habit of doing that. Of like, whatever didn't work.
Nigga, you do that.
I just said that.
I said I was literally about to agree with you. I was about to say it before you.
I think sometimes when you do that, I've learned personally that's you doing something and the sincerity is not there. You're doing it expecting different results.
You also
and that's what Lawrence is doing.
Scientifically, women are literally proven to be nurturers, and that's like a thing that is it's like we make babies, all that kind of shit is innate. And so sometimes you end up in a relationship where you steer things in a certain direction or try to help someone, blah, blah, blah. I think that's where Issa's coming from on that, where it's like, I was supporting you when you were sleeping on the couch and working at Best Buy. And we don't know the 5 years before the season 1 premiere, right? We just know when we already saw them when they were at a bad place. She's talking about where's all the patience and growth that she did to get him to the point where he can have his interview game in the mirror is even stepped up from before. You know what I mean? So like,
I thought it was kind of fucked up that he stole her mirror confidence shit. I was like, damn, son, you can't steal Issa's swag. Like that's Issa's swag, but it is what it is. I think the
why do you think you guys? Sorry, and you brought up the questions. Do you think that's not possible? Is that what you're trying to like?
Yeah.
Get at?
No, I just think that I saw on the timeline a lot of women were saying like, "Oh, ain't that the truth? Building up a nigga for the next bitch," and I was just like,
"Because we do."
It happens. And
but I'm just saying, like it happens. But I guess it's just like my perspective is like they shouldn't look at it like that. Like if you wanted him, like you would stay with him, but you don't want him no more, girl. Like
that doesn't always work out that way though.
That goes.
Even like Chloe said, I am not. All of my exes got a different version of me. You're fundamentally yourself, but the woman that I am today, like if you dated me a couple years ago, it doesn't matter if we were together for 5, 4, 6, 3 seconds. You don't know me right now. That's not.
I had to tell a couple niggas back in the day, I was trash with sex. Y'all got the worst version of my pussy in 2020, 2010.
So many
2020,
things.
Chloe?
So many things.
Well, I think what hurt the most for Issa was season 1, at the end of season 1, when her and Lawrence are getting their stuff, or season 2, when they're getting their stuff out of the apartment, and she has this flashback of them getting married. The
daydream, yeah.
Her having kids, him getting a good job, married, the whole 9 yards, leaving the apartment, getting to a house. She saw that for them.
It was insane.
Well, like you know what I mean. Like she saw that, and to see the version of him now, it hurts. But in actuality, I mean, that's more of Lawrence to blame because you met her at her best friend's baby shower. So you fucked up in general because now she has to constantly relive this shit. She's not truly over it because she has to deal with her on a day-to-day basis.
Well, I mean, Issa's the one who got left, so that's why she's not over it. Like, so.
I mean, but he's not over it either, Tori, and he's in.
No, he's not. He's not over it either.
He's not over the cheating. He's over the relationship. He's not over the cheating.
I don't think so.
Relationships, people, and love is complicated.
He only left because she cheated.
He had
he only got his shit together because she cheated.
He felt like his shit together.
He kind of had to like rip that Band-Aid off and like move on in the sake of like the hurt and the pride and the ego and all of that shit. And you kind of had to move on in that instance because it's like, yo, you cheated on me. You violated the relationship. I have to go regardless of how I feel about you because you don't respect me.
And I also think that had he not ripped off that Band-Aid, he wouldn't be who he is right now either. So even to circle it back to Tori and saying, well, then you should have stayed with him, it's kind of like, yeah, but they could have stayed together, but neither one of them would be who they are right now.
And partially, yeah, exactly. Because partially, Condola's getting the best version of Lawrence now because Issa cheated. He channeled.
Condola's also getting the best version of Issa.
Yeah.
Right.
That's what Light Skin Chad said.
But
He said that in the car.
He channeled all that energy and like that frustration and that disappointment. He could have just laid back and been depressed, but he was depressed while he was in a relationship. So now that you're free and you get to do what you want to do, or like, you know, you get to find fulfillments, he put that somewhere else. He started working out. He started fucking bitches. He got a new job. You know what I'm saying? So.
All right, we know he got the clap, but still, like, you know.
That shit.
He started fucking bitches.
You fucking reckless.
Well, he was fucking through the hurt. Hurt people, so we know that.
All
right. So,
but that's the process, though. That's the process. That's
a sick process,
does.
Eli. We need to do
you
better.
Get your heart broken. You go out. You break other people's hearts, and
that's not good.
That's what dating is.
That's not dating. No, it's not. That's what dating is.
That's toxic.
That's not good. That's not good, bro.
That's why you hurt niggas be walking around hurting other people, because y'all don't sit down and process y'all hurt.
Yeah, you gotta process it.
Another bitch.
Yeah.
Y'all. That's why Lawrence is where he's at right now with Condola. Fucked up.
I mean, but all right, but you mean to tell me that you've never been on savage mode?
Yeah,
yes, I was more hurt.
But that's what I'm saying though. But that's what I'm saying though. It's just that no matter what the case may be, it doesn't matter if you was with this person 5 years, a year and a half, whatever the case may be. Anytime anybody gets out of a relationship, 50% chance you're gonna be on savage mode.
And then we know what happens after you do all that savagery
and that's
like that.
You're more. It doesn't matter if that savage mode lasts for 6 months,
but
3
what we're
months,
saying
a year,
is that
2 years.
emptiness doesn't help you, and clearly it didn't help Lawrence. Like that. Oh yeah, you got fuck new bitches, and that's how you get over it. That's toxic, and we all realize it's empty.
And but what I'm trying to tell you, yes, it is toxic, but at the end of the day, it's reality, and it's what we all either we've done it, either we're going through it, or we're going to do it. It's just inevitable. Like, people go through their savage mode.
But see, that's the thing. Condola's not going through her savage mode. She was just talking with. She told.
From what we know.
I mean,
because
yes,
now
Lawrence is
Lawrence
a part
is
of
just
savage
a fuck
mode.
So what?
Maybe
Lawrence is just a fuck buddy now. So yes, she is doing her savage mode.
Listen. So we're gonna wrap this one up. I'm gonna stop hitting record and then start over again. But this was great. I enjoyed this one. This one was good. Chloe, thanks, man.
It's always a pleasure to see you, Mama.
Queen Chloe.
Well, you're not going nowhere for real. We just gonna stop recording so I can.
You're staying. I'm leaving.
Okay, I gotta pee. Hurry up.
Oh wow. Well, take your pee break.
Okay.
Bye, guys. Love you.
All right.